everyone. I'm Amy. I'm with Amy Wienands Real Estate. I'm excited to be emceeing this event. I've been coaching with Bob Corcoran for about 4 years, and it's been a life-altering experience, so we're excited to do this today. We've got Mark on the hot seat, who's got a mid-sized team selling 400 homes a year and has never been coached. So he's excited to be on this, and we're excited to have Bob coach us and walk us through the whole process. He's changed my life, and I know his tips and his coaching and his accountability can change yours. So we're excited to kick this off.
Excellent. Well, Amy, thank you. Mark, I got to tell you how gracious and thankful we are to have you on the hot seat today. And for those folks that are listening, okay, we interviewed quite a few candidates, and we wanted to get a broad spectrum of the right agent to present to everybody. And we interviewed some great people. And, the fact, Mark, that you made it here is testament, to your story and what you've built. Okay. And we're really proud to have you. So don't worry about it. I know Mark is nervous, folks. Imagine yourself being on the hot seat with all these people that are watching him. Okay. Now, to be totally clear, I had one conversation with Mark as we were selecting different candidates, for the hot seat. I did have a 30-minute call with Mark. Is that correct, Mark?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, it was to give me, as in the selection process, we wanted to make sure we had the right agent so that all of you can see, okay, and be transparent about it. Okay, Mark's never coached with our company before. Matter of fact, we had some people apply. Misty, she wanted to be on the hot seat. Okay, I love Misty. She's an awesome agent.
This is awesome.
Isn't she? You know her personally too, Amy. Okay,
I do.
And I just didn't feel right. So how did I honor Amy? Just so you know, I honored Misty by scheduling a one-on-one call with her.
Oh,
okay, because I love that girl. Okay, she does great business. But Mark's out of Raleigh, North Carolina. We'll get into more of the details. But, the one thing I think you all need to understand is, I've been doing this for over 30 years. And and so one of the purposes of today's call is if you're going to hire a coach, how to hire the right coach. Do you want a coach that's going to tell you what you need to hear or what you want to hear or what you need to hear? My style is I will only tell Mark what he needs to hear. If Mark doesn't have his big boy panties on today, he'll be exposed, okay? I asked him if he had a bottle of Preparation H for the call, okay? Kidding. I just like getting them nervous a little bit. But the hot seat is going to work, I'm going to go through Mark's, I'm going to ask him if I was interviewing a new client, for example, I want to know, A, is the person coachable? B, okay, does he want to grow his business? What are his pain points? Is he working too much, too many hours? Because I am all about work-life balance. I don't think anybody listening on today's call should work more than 50 hours a week, and I prefer it to be closer to the 30 hours a week. Okay, so it is about work-life balance. The biggest challenge is teaching agents that you are the chief executive officer of a major corporation. If we look at Mark, I believe you closed over 400 homes last year. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. 426.
That's a huge business. He's out of Raleigh, North Carolina. And when you look at 400 transactions and your average sale price, I believe, is right around 300, Mark?
Yes.
All right, 280 to 300. Mark's doing over 100 million.
Yeah.
But folks, do you think Mark thinks as a CEO? Mark, when you stop and you think about it, $100 million in sales, how many businesses, and Raleigh is a pretty big area with a lot of corporations. How many businesses in Raleigh you think do 100 million in sales, Mark?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm
going to put you probably in a top 20 of CEOs in your marketplace at 100 million in sales, even in Raleigh. Now, if you're Chicago, LA, New York, all right, top 100. Okay. But Raleigh, all right, anyway, but the hot seat, all it's going to work is just going through, learning about Mark, how he's doing things, and teaching you new ways to think.
Hey, Bob.
Yes, Amy.
So probably one of the biggest things that you brought to our team and to me personally is you hit on like limiting beliefs. Like you're attacking limiting beliefs. why did I think I had to take the listings? Why did I think I had to work the open houses? Why did I? And I was in a path like, this is how we do it. This is how we do it. And if I don't do it, it's going to fall apart. And so really attacking like a mentality of scarcity is what Bob is always attacking. He's always looking at, hey, you're seeing this all negative. It's all in your script. It's all in your script. It's all in your script. And you have to, I remember the very first time that I had to make a phone call and say I wasn't hosting an open house because he told me he was going to charge my credit card $5,000 for every open house I hosted. And I was hosting 4 a week and my team was hosting 30. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to fire me because it's all about me. No, you know what? We didn't lose a listing. We still sold stuff, but it was a limiting belief that I had. And he wanted me to quit that. So $5,000 and he was onto it, you know.
Hey, look at it this way, Amy. 4 open houses a week at $5,000 is $20,000 a week. That's a lot to pay for coaching.
Yeah, that's a lot. Anyway.
All right, excellent. Mark, for our viewers, why don't you describe your situation, where you are, and a little bit about your team so they hear it.
Well, I'm in, like you said, Raleigh, North Carolina. We service the Triangle area, which is Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill. And we have a team of 14 agents. We have 2 admin, a listing coordinator, and a closing coordinator. You know, when I got into real estate, my wife was already a top producing real estate agent in the area. And I got in the business in 2013. I had a commercial landscape business that I owned before that I sold. So when I got in the business, you know, I didn't want to come in and be like a husband and wife team. I didn't want to be quote unquote, you know, her husband. I'd always owned my own business. So I wanted to sort of, you know, start this business and do the same thing. So I started out as an individual agent, even though we were married. And then finally in 2015, we started the team. And she still serves as sort of an individual agent on the team. She helped me some early on build the team, but she's not as involved in the team as I am. Then my brother, who was a retired highway patrol, come on the team in 2016, I think, when he retired, and he sort of, you know, helped me build it. So it's been a sort of a 3-man partnership, me and my brother and my wife building the team. And we went from basically, you know, mine and my wife's volume in 2015 to last year, you know, doing, like you said, a little over 100 million and 400 transactions. And we're like a firm within a firm. So I let every agent on the team, they get to advertise their own self. Their names are on the signs. They get to take listings and buy sides. So treat it like a firm within a firm.
Okay. Hopefully our viewers, you know, heard you got an overview. And what company are you with right now?
Caldwell Banker, Howard Perry, and Walston.
Okay, Caldwell Banker. Okay. Now, folks, just so you know, we're going to talk about some confidential information on today's call. And Mark, at any given moment, if you're uncomfortable answering because you know this is public, you know it's being recorded, if you don't want to answer, feel free to say I'm uncomfortable. Okay? All right, great. You're with Caldwell Banker. What's your split with them?
Probably shouldn't answer that. But it's
Thank you. That's fine. That's fine. And that's why I brought that up, because I knew my next question, Mark. Okay? And there are certain things that we do on one-on-one stuff that I don't want to do publicly. Okay. All right. You have 14 agents on your team, correct, Mark?
Yes.
And they both take listings and work with buyers, correct?
Yes, sir.
What do you pay on splits? What do you pay on for buyer splits?
I pay them 60-40. 60 to the agent, 40 to the team.
And has anybody ever told you you're grossly overpaying?
I have heard that before. None of my agents has told me that, but I have.
Well, of course.
Sure not. You're never going to hear that, right?
All right, so let me ask you this, Mark, knowing that, because we're not in judgment here, and I look at Mark, paying 60 to his agents, 40 to the house, because like Amy, you pay 40 to the agent, correct, Amy?
Yeah.
Yeah, 40 to the agent, 60 to the house.
No. On the buy side, I pay it 50.
You pay it 50 on the buy side. Okay, great. Okay.
It depends on if they're new. If they're new, they're at 40.
Yeah, new people start at 40, graduate to 50 based on, the progression of production that we've set in place for the team. Okay, so the first thing you remember is, and we always, just because Mark is paying 60/40, it's get out of judgment and into curiosity. Okay, so what services is Mark providing for his agents and giving them that split? So Mark, do you generate all the leads for your agents?
We do spend a large amount on online leads, Zillow, Realtor.com. So we spend around 12 grand a month on leads.
Hopefully, do you have any team members listening to today's call, Mark?
Not that I don't know, not that I know of.
I hope not, because they will not like what I'm going to tell you.
No,
Just so you know, that's
okay.
kind of the risk we take here. But hey, I'm okay with it as long as you are, bro. Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so you generate leads for your agents, correct?
Yes, sir.
What percent of your closings, your over 400 closings, are team-generated leads?
We did
versus their own personal SOI.
I would say probably over 50%. I would say 50% of them are probably 40 to 50% would probably be team generated.
And here's what I picked up, Amy. He has no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea exactly. I know how much we do on Zillow or Realtor.com. I know how much we do on online leads, but I don't know how much between.
Because Mark, I will venture to say, dude, I'll venture to say 80% of your sales are team generated, easily 80%. And that's probably going to be on the low side. I look at someone like Amy, okay, where I'm going to tell you right now, probably 60% of all of Amy's business is past clients, referrals, and SOI of Amy Wienands. And it's going to be very similar to you, Mark. Okay, that, you know, because you have a great name in the marketplace, 220 agents, okay? You spend a lot of money marketing that out there. So I'm going to venture to say, folks, that Mark's production of 400 transactions, I'm going to say a minimum of 60% of the production is past clients, networking, and SOI. So remember that, because it's an important point when we look at splits. Does that make sense, Mark?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. Okay, and so as you move through, what, in your opinion, Mark, is your top 3 pain points in running a team?
Probably for me, the systems, because I was a new agent, you know, when I started the team. I'd only been in the business 2 years. So I didn't really have the systems in place, you know, the contract to close systems, and, you know, even I'd only used one CRM my whole career. So probably the systems, I would say, is the biggest thing, and getting the listing coordinator, just the systems for her, and the closing coordinator, the systems in place for them. And then trying to teach the agents and train the agents, you know, a brand new agent. I see it.
All right, folks, I put the hat on because for my clients, like when Amy says the word try, she pays $150. So I'm going to give you gratis here. Okay, Mark?
Okay.
There is no try. You either do or don't do. Quit trying. Trying is about failing, folks. Go ahead, Mark.
Well, the training and the systems are the two biggest probably pain points.
You're talking training when it comes to agent training?
Yeah, the system, having a system in place where I train each one individual. You know, I want to have like a video training system library in place versus me having to sit with them and show them everything, or another agent on the team having to sit with them and show them everything. I feel like if we had a video system in place where they could watch the video and then come ask 10 minutes worth of questions versus sit here for 2 hours and then ask 10 minutes worth of questions.
And how long have you thought about that?
A lot longer than I should have.
Then what the hell what are you doing about it? You've done nothing about it, though.
Very little. I've made a few videos, but I've not implemented it.
And who owns that, Mark?
Me, 100%.
And what are you going to do about it?
I'm working on the videos right now, actually.
And how many videos do you think you need to record?
I think 15 or 20, because they're going to be shorter videos. I think 15 to 20 videos will pretty much get the bulk of the process. As you know, every transaction is personalized, and there's always little things that differentiate.
Yeah, but there's the global. Here's the basics.
I think
So,
15
and I think 20's probably on the low side, just so you know. Okay, and so you're going to start recording those and get those 20 videos done by when?
I'm gonna have them done by the end of the year.
End of the year is December 31st, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, and if you don't have them done, you're going to die.
I'll have them done.
I don't like any deadlines in December. Can you commit to having them done by the end of November, though?
Yes, actually, I can. I can have them done by the end of November.
Or you're going to die on the last day of November.
And I'll miss Christmas with the kids, so that would not be a good
Wrong attitude, bro. I'll get them
Here's
done.
the thing, like that's like the biggest thing is that, like, okay, so I mean, I'm a salesperson. I can dance from anything, right? That's what you do is dance. That's the biggest thing for coaching for me. Like, I feel like you can on your own hit 3, 4, even 500 deals on your own, but I don't think you can successfully hit 750, 800, 1,000 transactions without a coach, because the accountability pieces, we get busy. Okay, yeah, I'll get that done. I'll get that done. I'll get that done. Without someone always, like, that's his primary job, is just to be holding us accountable to what we want to do in those systems. So that's to me, like, that's the big thing with the coach. Like, there's a certain level you can do on your own, and you've done a nice job hitting nice numbers, but to go to the next level, I don't think it's possible without an outside coach looking at your profit and loss statement, looking at your media summary, which you probably don't have. Like, I didn't have a profit and loss statement and a media summary that I analyzed every month. All those kinds of things, that accountability piece, he's like the master of it.
You know, and I think at the end of the day, Mark, you have to be open to want to grow your business and make your and your wife's life easier. Is that what you want?
Exactly.
So if I were to ask you, if your wife were on this call and I was interviewing her, what would her biggest frustration about you be?
Her biggest frustration about me would be that I have to be so involved in the business 24 hours a day that I have to be the one that answers every question for every agent. And I don't have to be, but I put myself in that position.
All right, folks, to those listening, Mark is a control freak.
Definitely.
His wife will agree. Amy, you know about that, don't you?
I do. I know the pain of that.
Okay, and how did you resolve that, Amy?
I think it was just through being exposed through the people that you exposed me to, that I could have a different life. And it wasn't the people that I looked around. If I looked around in my own marketplace, the top agents, the ones doing the most, they had the same life I had, right? It was, okay, it can be different. I didn't think it could honestly be different and work well. And I'm not about going backwards, right? So I think it's just, again, overcoming those limiting beliefs, putting the structure in place to be able to, pivot off of it and springboard off of it, that you can have a life. And now I have a sales manager that answers all those questions. And I don't field a lot of phone calls from agents anymore.
She actually has a life, and that's what it's all about, Mark. Okay, it's helping you and your wife and your kids. You have mom and dad, because your wife is involved in the business. Now, Amy's husband, I know, is a loan officer. He works in a mortgage company, does phenomenal volume. He is top mortgage loan officer in Iowa, as a matter of fact. And he's even doing my own private loan. Okay, just side note. Okay, sorry, Amy. Had to give Steve a plug. I love that man to death.
I appreciate it.
All right. Anyway, but Mark, here's what I see so far in talking to you. Number one, you really don't have a plan for your future and for your future growth. You're doing over 400 transactions a year. Amy, I'm sure when you heard that number, knowing he's doing over 400, without really any structure, you were salivating, like me. Okay, yeah. I'm like, God, this guy should be selling. This guy should be selling 1,000 homes. Hell, I didn't start with Bob till I was selling X. This guy's already doing this, right? I think you are overpaying. Here, folks, those listening, what I believe is, when we look at it, it's all about services we offer, Mark, to your agents. So when you look at, you have all your agents, and they work both the list and the buy side. I go back to the corporate world. A specialist always makes more money. So where you allow your 14 agents to work buyers and sellers, I'm going to strongly recommend you focus on having listing partners, specialize in taking listings. Now, we never take away what we've already given. We do it over time. Does that make sense, Mark?
Yes, sir.
A specialist will always make more money. Who makes more money? A doctor that is a general practitioner or a heart specialist?
A heart specialist.
Same
And here's
thing.
the thing, like in our experience, we've always found that like people are going to pronate one way or another. Like the personality profile of a really strong listing agent, honestly, is not the same as a buyer's agent. And
Right.
so we would see those natural tones. So when I made the move to move forward and separate my team, that we're going to, draw the line, you're going to do one or the other. I didn't know how the market would receive it.
Right.
Other agents would receive it. Has it stopped some people from coming to my company? It has. But for the people that the community loves it, the market loves it, attorneys love it, that there's a separation there. So they have specialized, and our buyer's agent and listing partners make great money, but they only do the one thing over and over and over again.
And the thing is, Amy, at the end of the day, when we look at the specialist, Mark, so I'm planting a seed in you now. Okay? We don't want to take away what we've ever given. That's always been my philosophy. Like if you're paying a 60-40, I'm not going to take it away. However, new people, we can change the model. Because it's got to be about profitability for you and your family. Because if you're not profitable, why are you doing this? Right. And at 60-40, according to the National Association of Realtors, if a realtor is making $100,000 a year, according to NAR, they're going to spend $60,000 a year to make it, so they're only going to net $40,000. So when you're paying 60-40, you are actually losing money. Are you aware of that?
No, I mean,
You are now.
I do know the profit margin is very tight.
Yeah, and it doesn't need to be that way. It's all about the services that you're going to offer your team. Because in true team environment, Mark, I hold you responsible lead generation. Okay, that's primary. You cover the expense of transaction, and you do all transaction management for the agents. So at year 60-40, are you currently doing all transaction management for your agents as well?
Yes.
You're really losing your butt.
Wow.
You're losing money. You know that?
I do realize it is very tight. It's been very tight for the last couple of years.
Are you willing to change it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Great. When?
Well, what I'm doing right now, I'm making several changes, but I'm going to grandfather the team in. I think I told you about some of the changes I was making on the private call, but I am going to, I'm going to be grandfathering all the agents that's on my team in to their split that they're at now. And then basically building a whole, not a new team, but starting to bring on new agents at a totally different split and totally different program model.
Great. And Mark, what is critical here is how you approach it. And this is Amy, and Amy can attest to this. It's all about, from a coaching perspective, it's how you approach it to your existing agents. And we don't hide the fact for new agents that we have different platforms. So I almost look at Amy, Mark's existing 14 agents. It's almost like partners in a law firm. Mm-hmm. We could deem those 14 people as partners, a partner status. Yeah. Bring on new people as associates. So we're going to bring, Mark, what you need to do is bring more of the corporate world into your real estate practice. Because, Mark, 400 transactions, and in my professional opinion, having talked to you a half hour, and now you have virtually no systems in place for growth and no systems in place for profitability. I would guarantee you I can double your profitability in 1 year.
That'll be nice.
But you got to be open-minded enough in those listening. Are you open-minded enough to change your structure, folks?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
You say that now, but when push comes to shove, dude. Amy, do you have any stories about when push comes to shove and you got to make that hard decision?
So last year, our market got really funny. I lost two of my best agents they moved to other markets, right? And they took out of my company about 300 grand a year. And then I had a couple that left because their spouses one took another job and the other got sick, had cancer, and needed it's for different reasons. I lost top people, right? And I was all of a sudden faced with, oh my gosh, we're used to this kind of a spend. And I'm like, I got to cut expenses quickly. I sat down with Bob and my operations manager, and we cut like $50,000 out of our budget a month. A month.
$50,000 a month, Mark.
A month.
And what happened to your sales?
We soared again, but it didn't affect.
They went up.
Cut things that were like, okay, what can we cut? I was terrified to cut some of the things we cut, but we went over it. We went over the profit and loss, and we just started cutting, and it felt great. And in fact, here's the thing: we haven't brought it back, and we haven't needed to.
Oh my God! Your only net profit is higher.
Yeah, I would say definitely.
All right, so Mark, here's what's important. You got to look at your model, and you and your wife really need to take a step back. Look, and I would love to see you and your wife put together a 1-year, 3-year, 5-year plan. Are you willing to do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. By when?
I can have it to you within 2 weeks.
All right, and if you don't have me in 2 weeks, you owe me $5,000. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Folks, I will collect it from them. Trust me. Time is money. Don't bullshit me. Okay? The whole thing I want you to look at, and you and your wife need to look at the whole model the way you have it set up. And like Amy and I are telling you, okay, grandfather, current, existing people, we can start, like you said too, we can add this other piece. Mark, I see you in 3 years selling 1,000 homes.
I like that.
What are you personally doing, though? How old are you?
I'm 52.
52. What's your exit strategy?
Well, that's one reason that some of the changes I'm making is because with the model I have, I would never really be able to get out of production. Or it would have to be so big before I could get out of production that it's.
Yeah, another one of the services, Mark, that I offer, like every client I start with, like with Amy, we start with the end in sight, Stephen Covey, right? Okay, so what's your exit strategy? Like currently, I probably help 2 to 3 of my clients sell their businesses, because typical realtor, Amy, they pack up their toys and they go home when they want to retire, okay? I would say in the last 5 years, I helped one of my clients sell his business for $6 million, Mark. When you look at your business, you got a multi-million-dollar business you can sell, but you're not even thinking that way today, because right now, no disrespect, bro, you're living day to day.
Exactly.
You are not planning for the future, and that's grossly wrong. You need a coach who's going to help you build for your future what you and your family want to achieve. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and folks
here's the thing too, that I'm just going to interject, is sometimes Bob will freak you out. Like I remember being terrified my first few weeks of coaching with him, just because he had me make drastic changes. When I say drastic, I mean drastic changes, like moving people around in my team. I mean, the boat got rocked. My agents didn't like him. They hated him, as a matter of fact.
Bonus.
My top team people hated him. Like it was a boat rocking, terrifying experience, quite frankly. But on the inside, I knew that I needed someone from an outside perspective to come in and make changes that I didn't have the guts to make, or the foresight, or even the 30,000 foot view that Bob always talks about. I didn't have the ability to see that.
And how do those same team members look at me today?
They love you.
Okay. Nobody likes change, Mark. And so, but we must monitor the change. And that, folks, you're looking for a coach. You're looking for a coach that is a full service coach that's going to help you monitor the change. Like if I make a recommendation to Amy, I know there are other effects that are going to affect this, Mark. And so you need to discuss those and work through your own trials and tribulations of what you're going to see and feel and think. We're not in your office every day, Mark. My whole responsibility is to help you set up a business that is profitable, that you can sell, period.
Mark, another sideline. Here's the thing. When you're walking through this whole business thing, I'm saying this about Bob just because this is what I've seen. Like literally he gets involved with your family. So it's just not my team. If he thinks he's challenged me to do something, then he will call my husband and say, is Amy present at home? When she's there, is she present? Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
So sometimes I'm engaged and fully present, and sometimes I'm not. Like, I don't know anybody else who just steps up and gets involved and he reaches out to my husband.
Well, and I think, Amy, don't you agree? If you're looking for somebody to coach you, see, I'm a consultant first. Different folks between consulting and coaching. A coach tells you what to do. A consultant shows you. And so by me getting involved, because if I doubt what Amy is telling me, I need verification, Mark. So I'm going to call your wife. If I doubt you, and I'm going to tell you, Mark, I doubt what you're telling me, I'm calling your wife. You okay with that? And if you're not okay with it, we ain't coaching, bro. Okay? But at the end of the day, all I care about is you building a phenomenal business with phenomenal work-life balance. I look at it this way. God has given you the ability to create income. Therefore, God has a plan for the money, Mark. So let's get back to the kingdom. But it's not about you or your wife being a workaholic. And folks listening in, do a gut check. Are you a workaholic? Are you a control freak? I think we're all grateful that people like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett weren't control freaks. Because if they were, we wouldn't have Microsoft and we wouldn't have Berkshire Hathaway. Hell, we wouldn't have Berkshire, forget the Hathaway part of it. We wouldn't have Berkshire Investments. You know, the thing is, at the end of the day, you personally, Mark, got to decide what you want for your business. And you got to draw a line in the sand and say, I'm willing to do this, I'm not willing to do this. Are you prepared to do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, you saying it is easy, though.
You're right. Execution is everything.
It's difficult. And you need somebody, folks, that is going to hold you accountable to your commitment with consequences. Like I said, Amy, you don't do this, I'm going to charge you $5,000. I had one client, Mark. I get tired of pussyfooting around with people. Amy can attest to that, right? Don't give me lip service. This guy said, I'm going to hire 8 agents by the end of the year. We decided that in November the previous year. I want to hire 8. We get to June, he's hired no one. Now I got lip service going on. You hear what I'm saying, Mark? You feel me, right, bro?
Yeah.
I can tell by your smile. Yeah, Bob, I'm guilty of lip service. So finally we get to June. I say, Mark, you haven't hired anybody. You guarantee me we hire 8 more. I'm going to tell you right now, if we don't have 8 more hired by November 1st, you owe me $10,000. He flippantly said, okay. He thinks that gets him off the hook, right, Mark?
Yep.
I said, great. Shoot me an email that says I agree to hire 8 more people by November 1st, or I will pay you $10,000. He did it. Now, here's what the jerk did. He did hire his 8, so he didn't have to pay me, but he fired 6 of them the next day. You know what? But he put forth the effort. At the end result, Mark, is he netted 2 more agents out. And that's what we're looking for. Is you say something, I expect you to keep your word. I am not for the faint of heart. All I want you to do is you and your family achieve your goals and your dreams. And that's what this must be about. Otherwise, why are you doing it?
I agree.
Based upon my 30-minute call with you prior to this call and today's call, what thoughts are running through your head right now? Besides hiring me, go ahead.
I know 100% that you're right. I mean, everything you've said is stuff that I've said to myself a million times. But, you're right. It's one thing for me to hold myself accountable, and that's sometimes a lot harder to do. I have even went as far as with my brother on the team is saying, listen, we need to get these videos in place. You make sure I'm making these videos every day. And, it's just hard to get someone to really hold you accountable.
I'm out. If you're asking your brother to make sure he does it, but what you're missing is a consequence. If I don't do these videos, I'll pay you $1,000 every day I'm late. See, because as soon as we invoke a consequence, we miraculously get crap done, don't we? That's what you're missing. That's what most people miss, folks. So for those listening, that's a big pearl. Consequence. You ask somebody to do something, what's the consequence? Close your loops on communication. I will never tell Amy to do something without follow through. I'll say, Amy, you promised me we'd have 2 people hired in the next 2 weeks. Please email me your efforts on a weekly basis as to what you're doing to achieve this goal. Got to have the accountability in place, Mark. Make sense? I think he went to sleep or he froze.
Do you guys have any questions?
I lost you for a minute. You blanked out.
Okay, it's about accountability.
Yep.
That's what you're talking. Amy, great question. I know we have some.
Out there, do you guys have any questions? Participants are out there. We got the chat room. Just hop on there, ask the question. What are you guys thinking right now? What thoughts do you have going through your head for Bob or for Mark? We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, please, enter questions in, whether it's for Mark, Amy, Bob. Okay, please, get involved here. All right, so, Mark, we talked about the structure of your team. You only have 2 support staff people, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, have you put any plan together? If you say, I want to sell 1,000 houses, have you even thought of that yet?
I have, yes.
So it was a dream.
Well, yeah, I've set the goal for 2020, for the next 4 years. I've set the goal of where I want to be in the next 4 years. And, I am working on a plan. And, I did share with you a couple of the changes that I was thinking about, but I am working on a plan to increase the profit margin because I do realize I will need better systems and more admin in place in order to do what my goal is for 2025.
You just got to strategically say, this is what I want. But see, right now what I'm hearing, Mark, is you don't take a lot of time on working on the business.
Exactly. And I realize I've realized that a tremendous amount in the last, 15 to 18 months, because my profit margins don't allow me to get out of the business. Myself, last year, I ended up, doing 40 to 50 transactions myself last year. And my wife ended up doing basically approximately 30, which was the same volume. She has a higher price point. She's been in the business for a while. But, I did 40 to 45 transactions myself while running the team. So it is hard for me to work on the business, because a team my size, I should not have to be in production.
Okay, excellent. All right, okay. So when you say yes to doing a deal, you're saying no to something else. Always remember that, folks. If you say yes to if you're the CEO of the corporation listing, if you say, yes, I'm going to listing, what are you saying no to? Most of my people, and my goal for Amy is to not go on any listings. When I started with Amy, she was probably, when you started coaching, you were probably 8% of the team's production, right, Amy?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
and today, what percent are you?
Here's the thing, but I just want to go back to this. So right now, I'll still do 70 or 80 transactions this year. And Bob hates that, and I'm backing out of it. Like I've been turning over listing appointments left and right.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it doesn't, I have a team structure set in place that I can do it pretty seamlessly, and it doesn't affect, I'm not, when I used to do 45 or 50 on my own,
right,
it was so much work. Now that with the team structure I have in place, it's not a big deal for me to do 80, run my team, sit on several boards, and still be home by 5:30, 6 o'clock every night.
It's all about leveraging your time through other people, right, Amy?
Right. So, I think that's a big deal. Hey, Bob, we have a couple questions. People are wanting to know.
I just saw that. Somebody about ISAs. Mark, do you use ISAs at all? For those who don't know, ISA is Inside Sales Associates. Mark, do you use any?
I do not, but that is one of the things I want to put in place next year.
Amy, do you use or have you used ISAs?
We have 2 ISAs, and all of our leads run through them. We don't have any agents responding to things unless they're personal.
Where are they, U.S. based or offshore?
They're here. They're in our office.
They're in your office.
They
Nice.
answer the phone. They answer the phone from anywhere from 7 on until typically they take shifts, but they'll be from 7 till midnight. We have it covered. Great.
And Danya, hopefully I pronounced it right, Danya Simmons, how do you compensate them?
I'm the wrong person to ask for that. They are paid.
Okay, yeah, she's the CEO. She has no freaking idea. Folks.
Yeah, no, they're paid a small salary, and then we pay them. I think they're paid $100 for every successful appointment that they set.
Yeah. So there's offshore and onshore ISAs. Most, if you're doing offshore, you're going to pay an offshore company like My Outdesk, for example. Okay, you'll pay a flat fee. Okay, per month for them. Onshore, you're going to pay a salary and a bonus. Onshore costs more money. I'm a big proponent of offshore. Michael Russer, who is the producer of today's call, okay, taught me to embrace virtual assistants, okay?
Hey, responding to Dana, yes, the payment does come from our buyer's agents.
Yeah, so whatever we're paying them, we do take a spiff. Yeah. Off of the commission, what they sell.
Our buyers agents love it because they have been a lot of them have been being totally worked on and cultivated for the last 6 months. Mm-hmm. We've got a hot lead. I mean, they don't have the time to they're out doing deals. We keep our agents focused on dollar productive activities, not on, we have them prospecting all the time, but those leads that are coming in, they're glad to pay the $150 to the ISA because they know that they're ready, willing, and a lot of times solid leads.
Yeah, in my opinion is if I'm providing a service for an agent, I need to charge them. Especially with you, where you're paying the agent 60%. So remember, all the coaching is customized. So Amy, for example, Mark's paying his buyer agent 60% to do a deal, and he's making 40. So if Mark had an ISA, they're going to do those deals at 40%.
Yeah.
See how we can switch it up, Mark? Like I said, I won't take away your split unless I add services. So if Mark, folks, added an ISA, then that buyer agent has to agree to do a deal at 40%, or I'll give it to another agent on the team. Does that make sense, Mark?
It does.
You see how you can work? See all the workarounds you got to do? Because, quite frankly, no disrespect, you set your team up wrong. You set your team up to be broke. Why do people become a broker? To become broker. Okay? And that's not what we're about. We're about helping you live the life and build a business that you can eventually sell for millions of dollars. Go ahead, Amy. You had a comment.
So when I first launched off into our ISA, we pay them a salary. So at first I was like, okay, this is costing me. But I felt like my agents would prospect the leads, but if it wasn't hot lead, they would just, they didn't work them. So our ISA,
they're lazy. They were lazy.
Yeah, every agent is. Okay. Most are, right?
Hopefully your agents aren't listening today, Amy.
Yeah, but I'm just saying they're gonna take the cream off the top and keep moving, right? But we've found okay, I was like, do I really want to pay a salary to an ISA? How am I going to know if it's any good? Is it a waste of money? But they've been able to go into our trash where we have 30,000 names and have brought money back to the table, and they've definitely been a benefit. So we're tracking how much they're making us every month, and after we started to see income come in.
So Amy, let's do a check-in with Mark.
Huh?
So far, Mark, what have you learned about your business and what you need to do?
Well, I've learned that, I'd already you have proved to me that my structure was wrong, which I was already had been thinking that I had built the team wrong, because in order for me to continue to grow, I built the team to where it is with no recruiting at all. I've never recruited. Everybody that's on my team has come to me to join the team. I've never recruited, and to grow it to the next level, I'm going to have to recruit. I've got to get out of production, or like Amy said, get the systems in place. And don't get me wrong, me doing 40 or 50 last year was not as hard as some of the regular agents on the team doing the same 40 or 50, because the admin do look out for me and they help out because I'm running the whole team. But still, I've got to free up more time so I can focus on growing the business and focus on getting the profit margins right.
Okay.
Growing the team in the right direction.
All right, excellent. Okay. The thing is to write this stuff down, Mark, and start putting a plan in place to achieve it. Okay? Now, Bren Downing asked a question. What framework and structure should we be looking at to make our team sellable? It's all about your profit and loss statement, Brent. How many of us run our personal expenses through our businesses? Right? All of us. So start with your P&L, Brent. Make sure you got a clean P&L. And if you're going to run personal expenses, make sure your CPA tells you how to hide it. Okay. Oh, this is a recorded.
Was that Brent Downing you said?
Yes, it was. Yes.
Columbia, South Carolina. I know him.
Okay, very good. Okay. And then Norm Elliott asked, Amy, how long you been with Bob? Would you share your progression?
So I've been with you 4 years, I believe. Is it 4? When I started with Bob,
Seems like a freaking lifetime.
Me too. I think so too.
Some clients are a pain in the ass, Mark, just so you know.
We've grown like by 50% of where we were when we first started coaching with Bob. And I had a good coach. She was awesome. And she does great business. But I went to a coaching call. I sat in St. Louis when he used to be there and watched him coach. And anyway, so I was like, oh my gosh, I have to coach with this guy because of the accountability piece. So he basically restructured us, and we started a growth model, and we'll hit 800 transactions this year. So we've doubled. We've doubled in the last 4 years.
800 transactions in Waterloo, Iowa, for God's sake.
I know. It's crazy, isn't it?
Are there that many houses in Waterloo?
There is.
Right?
Hey, you can't believe it.
Right. Now, I'm with you, baby doll. Okay.
Yeah.
And Danya Simmons, Amy Wienands, I think we talked about that. Hopefully we answered your question. If not, please retype it in. Any questions we can't get to, we'll get back to you. Chuck Lemire says, Bob, other than Mark, who is the best client and how challenging is jump into the current status versus starting from scratch? And can you start someone from scratch? Chuck, of course.
Didn't Chuck work with you?
I can take, Amy, I can take a brand new agent. If they'll do 100%, here, Lisa Burge is a great example. Casper, Wyoming, huge metropolis, right?
Yeah.
The entire freaking state has 500,000 people, right?
Yeah.
Lisa, no name recognition in her marketplace, was top producer in another market. Hired me when she moved to Casper, Wyoming.
Yeah.
Okay. And her first, we hired full-time buyer agent, full-time support staff before we got started. Her first year sold 111 houses. Can I take somebody from scratch and make them a top producer? You're damn right. But Mark, it comes down to your attitude. Is that what you want? And is that what you, my friend, are looking for? And those listening, is that what you want?
Here's also the thing. You're going to be overwhelmed. If you hop on board his onboarding process, like everyone was overwhelmed by it. The team's overwhelmed. Everyone's overwhelmed by all the stuff you're introducing. But it's almost like if you're going to do it, just jump in headlong all the way in.
Trust it. Trust it. You're right, Amy.
Just roll.
And folks,
otherwise it's overwhelming. It's like, and I just had to trust.
The thing is, in our company, we have many different coaches, no matter what your level is at. Now, what I think is important is you got to find a coach that fits you, okay? And so for Mark is walking away with huge pearls, and he should know exactly what he needs to do to help his team grow. Correct, Mark?
Yes, sir.
I would expect an email to you by end of week. End of week to me is 3 o'clock Thursday. I have no deadlines on Friday. Folks, you know why? Friday is for my wife. Everything I do is personal. It centers around my wife and kids. No deadline past 3 o'clock on Thursday. Mark, I'd love to see an email from you by 3 o'clock Thursday. What changes you need to make, and what is your deadline to make that change? Is that the?
I will get him the email. I'll get him an email by the end of the week, so or by Thursday. So, but I do appreciate everything you guys have done. So, great.
Yeah, if you have any questions for us, feel free to reach out to any of us. We'd love the opportunity to continue the conversation.
We will.
If you want your life changed, you got to make the decision.
Definitely will. Definitely
right?
will. All right. Yeah, I'll be in touch with you guys.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. Bob's thankful too. He just can't tell you that right now.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Bob.